Hello and welcome to THL's Monday Madness. Tonight we're bringing you our final episode of the season. I want to thank all of you who have watched the show, who have supported the show, for being here. It's been a blast. It's been a great adventure. And for any of you who may be joining us for the first time, this is a show where we try and introduce formats which are fresh and interesting to break up the monotony of the meta and introduce something truly entertaining. So tonight's challenge is going to be Hearthstone Legion. We are aligning this chronologically with the recent release of World of Warcraft's new Legion expansion, which is a ton of fun. I definitely recommend it. And we've got some great players here to bring you this challenge, and we've got a great co-caster here. Smoked Salmon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. I know it was a bit last minute, but I'll try to do my best.
You know what? You're here, and that's better that can be said for someone, but that's okay. So let's go into player intros. So, representing the might of the Burning Legion, the evil invader, we have Josh Sampson. How are you, Josh?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Glad to see you here. Though I'm not sure the defender of Azeroth, Mr. Vendilion, is very happy to see him. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Riding my my THL victory this week, against who was it, Josh?
Probably some scrub named Randy.
Yeah, right. It's probably some scrub team named the Noobs.
That brings me to introducing our producer of the show, the captain of Noob Central. That would be Nade. How are you doing tonight, Nade? Nade is doing very muted. So, fantastic.
Oh, is it better now?
Yeah. Just,
gosh, no, I was just
want to introduce you.
I was just saying hello, and happy that we have a comedian over here. Mr. Vendilion thinks he's so funny. But excited for tonight. You guys are going to be awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. This is going to be awesome. Yeah, so let me introduce you all to the rules of our first best of 3 challenge. We are going to be playing a challenge called Banished to the Twisting Nether. So, essentially, our players are each preparing 2 standard decks, different classes. And before our show, they have announced their lineups to their opponent. And they have planned out their decks based around the concept of certain cards being banned. So, at the start of the challenge, the players are going to announce their 4 non-legendary cards which are banned from the opponent's deck. Now, how this works is those cards are unplayable in the game. So say we queue up and I am playing Hunter, and I have a Fiery Bat and a Call of the Wild in my hand, and my opponent announces that both of those cards are banned. Those cards are now essentially blanks in my deck. I just can't play them at all, at least by any normal means. If it's summoned by a Barnes or an Alarmabot, it's still okay, but because that's kind of harder to restrict. But essentially the idea here is it's going to force our players to maybe exclude certain meta cards from their decks in foresight of these bans, but not necessarily. Maybe they say, okay, I think that you will think that I won't bring Fiery War Axe because you'd ban it, because it's such a good card. But based on that, I am going to bring it, and when you ban other cards, I will have that super powerful card. So, quick caveat, if these rules are accidentally broken by a player during the game, if somebody, snap casts a quick shot despite it being banned, their opponent immediately gets to choose 2 additional cards to ban. Now, this is a big deal because they've now seen part of the deck. They know what's there, so they can very strategically use that. So this is just extra inclination, not to mess things up. Uh-oh. Is the mic clear, or am I having some issues here?
You're doing much better. It was breaking up a little bit.
All right. Well, let's hope that by the time season 2 rolls around, I will have a new headset. Should absolutely be the case. Yeah. So that's pretty much the rules of our first challenge. Players, do you guys have anything you'd like to say to our audience or to each other? Before we get going.
Best of luck to Josh, but we're gonna reenact the victory of Danger Zone over Noob Central right now.
Fighting words.
I mean, you say that, but you had the handicap of having to play against the person who's like, what, like 3-11 in games last, like 6 matches.
Hey man,
Gave you the handicap.
you know what?
Andy.
I'm not a good player either, but I got there.
Well, best of luck.
You too, man.
All right, fantastic. We are just about to go into the game. Our players are going to mute and deafen themselves. So we casters have the floor. Going into this, before we start, Smoke Salmon, how do you feel about what kind of classes are going to be brought to this with this ban system in mind?
Well, I mean, personally, I'd probably bring something like Arena Lock or a Warrior that can have like more one-ofs and consistency. That way, you have one card, one ban. Like, you only lose a piece of your deck instead of bringing two, where you would have even less consistency if that were to get banned.
Good call. All right. We're actually going to bring our players in here for one quick second as they announce the classes that they have brought to each other. They have their bands lined up for every class. All right, players, are you ready to announce?
I'm ready.
All right, Josh Sampson, why don't you start? What classes have you brought with you?
I am bringing Warlock and Rogue.
Bringing Warlock and Rogue. And Vendilion, how about you?
I have Mage and Hunter.
Agent Hunter, Warlock, and Rogue. Very cool. Yeah, how you mute us, just go to your volume mixer and mute Skype.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And, yeah. All right, sounds good. So why don't you guys figure out your decks? You're going to queue up, and then, why don't we just keep you guys in here so you can announce the 4 cards to your opponent, and then you guys go silent. Let's do that.
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right. Once your decks are prepared, shoot the challenge.
Yep, my deck's fully prepared. We're both in the challenge.
Yep, we're in there.
Screen. So I guess I'll announce my.
Go ahead and queue it up. Queue up your classes, and once the mulligan shows up, make your announcement, and then you can complete the mulligan.
Sounds good.
All right, let's see. Got the spectator button. Let's go. Gotta love that never-ending bar of loading. Serving beverages.
All right.
Okay.
So it's Rogue versus Mage. For Rogue, I have let me find it real quick. I have banned Eviscerate, Gadget Sand, Preparation, and SI7 Agent.
All right. I'm gonna write those down in the chat.
Eviscerate.
Yep.
SI7. Prep. And what was the last one?
Gadget Sand.
Okay.
And for Mage, I have Fireball, Mana Worm, Flame Waker, Kabbalist Tome.
Awesome.
All right. Why don't you guys deafen yourselves, and with this knowledge in mind, head into the game.
Best of luck.
All right, Salmon, you've seen the opening hands. You've seen the bands. How do you feel going into this?
Well, I mean, obviously, Vendilion banned expecting a Miracle Rogue, and he is in for a surprise.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now, I would like to take a little bit to appreciate the amount of gold cards in Josh Sampson's hand.
Yeah, that's just a gold. Why do you have that? My bad. Holy shit, a golden brand.
Yeah, that's about 6 more golden cards than I own.
Yep, same here. Like not free to play anymore. Sad face. Bought a welcome bundle.
How do you think that Vendilion is feeling about seeing a brand coming down here?
I mean, he's got to be confused a little bit. Like, it's not a common rogue bring, but he hasn't seen any Cthulhu cards, so maybe could just be a weird tech.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think he would be thinking.
And Viscerate, Gadgesan, Prep, I believe.
And also, what it could be is like he could be reading like the Burgle Rogue with like the Peddlers and the Swashbucklers.
Well, it's about to be revealed right here as Twilight Elder is going to come down. This is a card you don't often see due to the fact that Cthulhu right now, as they're just much better. Wow, the golden Cthulhu. Oh my gosh, the bling is real, man. He said, I'm going on a show. I'm going to bring the swag cards, but not my hero. That hero is going to be wooden as all heck.
Well, how many golden Valiras really exist in THL?
Johnson. Assassinate. Nice. This is an interesting start to the game we got here. This Medivh's Valet, man, he's got Valet and the Torch, both of which are dealing 3. And he'd like to be able to deal 1 extra damage, but he can't develop the Valet and a Secret on the same turn. So he's forced.
Yeah, and we see him choose to kill the Bran over the Twilight Elder and just let Cthulhu get to 10 if he has 1 more, and we see that he clearly does.
Just confirm Vendi's Rogue bans were Eviscerate, Gadgesan, Prep, and what?
SI7.
All right. Those are in the chat so our players can see, in case they forget. Any of that in the Cthulhu Rogue's hand, he is not at all hampered by this. Now, as far as the Mage goes, Fireball, Mana Worm, Flamemaker, Cabala's Tome. It seems these players have opted with the strategy of...
You're starting to break up a bit.
Let's see here. Any better?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The robot Hector Howell and his terrible mic. Yeah, so I was just saying, it seems like these players have been very targeted against the meta-style decks, where you do have the ability to really go broad with what you ban. So, like, you can go say, all right, against Warrior, I want to ban Execute, I want to ban Twilight Guardian, I want to ban Fiery War Axe, and I want to ban Ancient Shield Bearer. So you can try and ban against multiple archetypes and just kind of eliminate key cards that make those archetypes flow. But I also like what these guys have done. Really lock down the meta archetypes, so you're forcing your opponent to play something that is off meta. And this has absolutely happened, and I think we're going to have a really cool game here.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to take note that he is playing double Flame Strike, so maybe he was expecting more aggressive builds, but that might be a great idea right now, because you see he's got a lot of 4 health minions.
How do you feel about conserving the backstab in this situation?
I think it's good. He doesn't have a lot of combo like activators in his hand, and so conserving it might be the best play in case he does draw something like. Actually, since he was.
Well, what he
since
could have done is
his...
he could have backstabbed Cthulhu's Chosen and swung his weapon. But what could also happen is Vendilion just gets an Acid Maw, and
yeah, now he's very rewarded.
There's that backstab, and there you go. There's example where conserving it was correct. And he was probably thinking about Flame Strike there, thinking about, okay, I want to trade this 3 damage in for value now. So how do you feel that Vendilion's going to react to this Twin Emperor? Okay.
Well, you see him play the Blizzard. He's probably just going to freeze and set up for the Flame Strike next turn.
That's pretty good. Yep. Yeah, that seems right. He also had the option to Roaring Torch to very cleanly remove one of the targets, but that would get a lower value target for that. Wow.
Clearly,
Samson
isn't reading the second Flame Strike, and he's playing really.
It's hard to. He's got 15 cards left in his deck at this point. You can't really plan around him having duplicates yet. Yeah, and that's at least it's only a 5/5. Ancient of Nerfed, and this is really where we see the Rogue as a class having some problems, where it doesn't have great comeback mechanics, it doesn't have good healing, and I think we may be seeing this Reno just come down right now for a 14 damage heal. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I probably wouldn't, at least this time. But, because you can play just the Scarum and, like, contest the board a bit and really save your Reno, because that is basically going to be your only form of healing for the whole game.
Yep. So
you want to be as greedy as you can.
So you are looking at being on 11 after this attack. Now, without fireballs in the pool, however, do you think he's safe? Or do you think he thinks he's safe?
I think he thinks he's safe. It's pretty hard to read that he drew a Roaring Torch, and even if he did, there's not a lot you can combo with it.
Yeah.
Maybe if Josh Samson draws the Frostbolt, then that's basically game.
Yeah, that Ice Lance is rough, but I think you're right. I think the Scarum Cultist is the winning play here, and he's going to go with it. So we see a Valet Ripped. Ooh, that's 1 off, right? That's 6.
Yeah,
10.
so what I think he'll probably end up doing is freezing and stalling for a turn.
Yeah. Now, do you like doing it with the Ice Lance or the Frost Nova?
The Frost Nova, definitely. Just because you don't really need the whole AoE. You have Blizzard in case you need a second one. Also, excuse me.
Oh, all right. Yeah, well, one reason to play the Ice Lance here is to sneak a ping in, but seeing this Cthulhu, it seems very likely that he's playing a Reno, and there we can see Vendilion praying, "No Reno! No Reno!" And here it comes. Head acknowledgement. There's Reno.
Sorry, I returned.
Man.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Ooh,
So,
the
one thing here is, unfortunately, he was unable to either attack in any way deal with his opponent's board. So this is one of those unfortunate situations where the Emperor does a little more than stall the game. Now, one turnaround we could be looking at is a Cthulhu draw. That said, I don't know if he's going to make it. I think he may be just toast here.
Well, let's see. He's got about 12 on board and then another 6 in hand. He might, if he doesn't draw any damage, he might be at, I believe, just 1 off. So the best play would probably be to just develop something that, like the Dark Iron Skulker, and kill the Valet in order to protect yourself and set up to kill the minions next turn.
Yeah, it seems right. Now, would you also develop the Shadowcaster here?
I would develop the Shadowcaster just to have more bodies on the board to keep trading. But it's going to be hard considering he already used his Reno.
Yeah. There's no damage, but there needs to be health restore. because he's now at 7. So Cthulhu does not save him. He does have a board. Clean up everything, but yeah, I don't see a way to kill that Thanos. So this looks like it is game 1 going to Mr. Vendilion.
Yeah, it was that second flame strike really hurt. It allowed him to tell it.
I think what we can really see here is the example of Medivh being just used to insane degrees of, here, let me play a 7/7 for 8. Okay, that's fine-ish. And then I'm going to play 3 board clears back to back and develop crazy strong minions for the mana cost I have remaining behind them. So, huge investment in Medivh and a huge payoff. And unfortunately, we're not able to see this absolutely massive Cthulhu from the side of Samson come down. There's Vendilion as he rejoices, draws a banned card, but it's okay. He has 2 mana lethal, Roaring Torch. All right, and that is game 1 going to the side of Vendilion. We are going to bring these guys back in for a quick second. They're going to announce to one another their bands once they select their classes.
I have unmuted and undeafened.
All right, Josh, we got you.
Same.
All right, so why don't you guys? Well, obviously, one of you will be playing the same deck, and that will be. Well,
I mean, Josh could play
the
as
same
Warlock.
deck.
if he
No.
wanted, But I have to. I'm focused on playing Hunter. I have to play Hunter.
See, that's what I was trying to get across.
I got you. Don't worry.
And then I dropped the figurative ball. All right, so here comes the Hunter, and here comes the other Josh Sampson deck, or the same Josh Sampson deck. Why don't you guys?
Josh Sampson deck.
All right, same deck.
Same deck?
So
All right.
in that case, Samson, why don't you announce your card bans against Hunter?
Give me your bands.
My Hunter bands are Kill Command, Call of the Wild, Savannah Highmane, Animal Companion.
All right. Sounds good. Why don't you guys mute and deafen yourselves, and we are going straight into this next game of our best of 3 series.
Sounds good.
All right. There should be deafen at this point. So, Salmon, how do you like the chances of the Cthulhu deck here? Because this is the one that needs to get the win, bring it to a contested series. Vendilion can just win this game right here.
Yeah, I mean, with those bans, those are most of Hunter's high value cards. So this will be kind of interesting to see how Vendilion kind of compensates for not having the Highmane and the Call of the Wild. Sorry.
Canyon is was one that I was expecting, but it's definitely.
Hector, your mic's cutting off a bit.
Is it back?
Yeah.
All right. Just have to wiggle the stupid input. It's all, all of it. All right. Let me reiterate that then. Josh Sampson banned Animal Companion, which I think is really interesting because it is not necessarily a card that I think Vendilion was expecting to have banned. And it's in his hand. So we're only going to play on Josh Sampson's side. 7 hanging out in his hand.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
the SI isn't. Oh, and then we see the snipe take out the Tomb Pillager, and
Wow. That's a pretty snipe. That is real something. All right then. So we see the secret engine of the Hunter going. The Rogue has failed to develop a minion due to that MLG snipe. He's got the option of playing out an Azure Drake this turn. And do you think that Josh Sampson will be scared to play that Drake due to the fact of the second developed secret?
I mean, it's hard to expect a second swipe, and at least you'll know if you play the Drake, you won't have to deal with swiping or snipe anymore.
I think we just saw a special message from Ventillion to our viewers. It's something to do with Smorks. So I think he's enjoying that both.
Yeah, it's just kind of a shame that he's doing it versus a Reno deck who can basically heal himself up to safety.
Interesting inclusion. I like seeing that that 3/6 taunt Thune card. I believe it is Twilight. Wait, Crazed Worship. Names you don't know. So Sam's gonna explosive here. Put 2 damage break.
It's starting to happen again, Hector, your mic.
Oh. All right, well, I am just a total mess here. Is that better?
Yeah, that is better.
Oh boy. Yeah, just employed the unplug, replug. Oh man, there is the Call of the Wilds drawn, as is a banned card. That is another blank in Vendillion's hand. How do you feel about his decision to include Call of the Wild, knowing that it was under threat of ban?
I mean, it's hard not to include a card that's so powerful, and it's basically how Hunter's kind of been in the meta right now. So I don't really blame him. Although maybe I cut it to 1 so that it's not that threatening if it does get banned. It's not that much of a problem. But
Yeah,
I think
so
not including it wouldn't be a great idea.
well, if you're playing it, you're basically saying there is a time when my opponent doesn't ban Call of the Wild. I think that's the first card I ban against Hunter. Absolutely. Like, Burn, I can deal with Burn. High mains, yeah, it's probably like the second or third I ban. But it could sneak through. But Call of the Wild, I never see it sneaking through. So I personally would not have included that. Would use those deck slots for something else.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah, and maybe perhaps Vendillion's just like wanted to make a play that Josh Sampson wouldn't ban Call of the Wild because he'd think that it's such an obvious ban.
Yeah. So there's definitely that. But he did go for the standard.
Ooh,
Now,
and
I
the
don't
second
know.
animal companion is going to be rough. He's basically playing with 3 cards, and one of them is another weapon that he can't really equip right now.
And it looks like Reno may be employed right away. I don't know if this is required. How do you feel about him Renoing right now?
I mean, it would put him at a really safe spot, so maybe, like, I don't have any... And plus, he can always shadow step it back and then just use it when he really needs it.
I mean, with the knowledge that Animal Companion is banned, I think that he didn't need this Reno. Or Kill Command, excuse
Oh,
me.
and he didn't even want to shadow step it in order to keep it protected against the Smork.
Ooh, that is the 4th blank that Vendillion has drawn here. He really went all in on these, like, really bog standard Hunter cards.
Yeah, he definitely was. Yeah, and I think
Right.
with that, you kind of have to give it to Josh Sampson, knowing he has a second Reno and can block off like most of your.
That's brutal. He even has a shadow step for that second Reno, which will bring it back to a 4/6 minion. Wow. This
Now,
is
would you have thrown the coin away in order to play the brand first and have 2 Renos in hand without overdraw? I guess it doesn't matter.
so, but yeah. All right. Well, we are seeing that Rogue deck get its victory. Reno Jackson
Yeah,
being
I'm back.
employed. very effective measures. All right, we got Josh Sampson back, and let's just bring these guys back in for our final set. Here.
I'm here.
All right, so we're gonna see the return of the Hunter deck.
Likewise.
Same
Right.
bands inflicted. Now, Samson, you are bringing in your other deck.
I'm bringing Warlock.
Bringing Warlock. All right. So, what are your bans against Warlock, Vendilion?
Imp Gang Boss, Defender of Argus, Hellfire, and Argent Horse Rider.
Hellfire.
Interesting.
Argent. Got it.
All right.
All right, sounds good. Best luck,
Awesome.
Mandy.
Best of luck. Yep. Here we go.
All right. Let's get these players deafened and muted. It's not often you say a thing you say about someone. Monday Madness does strange things to your vocabulary. All right, Samson. Get out of here. Salmon,
Yep. What's up?
what do you think of these Warlock bans?
I think he is predicting a zoo, but this, the Hellfire is an interesting one because that means he wanted something against the Arena. But really, I think this is just going to come down to like about 8 of Vendillion's cards are probably going to get banned, so they're not really any use.
Ooh. There's an animal companion. There's a second blank. Man, this is interesting. He's getting very punished for bringing a super standard lineup. As that means he's got 3 cards in his hand he just can't play. Now, if we'd seen him bring a more off-meta style like the Reno decks that Samson is employing here, he wouldn't be as card restricted. So he's obviously gone for the win more strategy of, oh, he just doesn't ban the cards, and then I blow him out with cards he wasn't banning. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not liking the odds of this Hunter deck here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's definitely tried to play some like next level thinking where he tried to trick Josh into banning the off like note cards, but he's getting really punished because even what was he really expecting to Josh Sampson to ban?
Let's think about that for a second. What could you hit? Well, you could hit Quick Shot. I think Quick Shot is a pretty core card you see in a lot of decks. Maybe he would hit Cloaked Huntress. There's a nice cat trick. Interesting. Makes me hesitate to play the Guardian. All right, here it comes. Barnes. Now, Barnes is a very good card in this format because Barnes allows you to bring out cards which are banned. Now, this doesn't apply for Hunter because Hunter had entirely spells banned. Here comes the... Oh!
Oh, and now we see why he's playing this off.
Oh, no! He's gotten a banned card onto the board, and it's completely fair.
Yeah, that was a
Oh, that's brutal. That's nuts. All right, well, that's going to be the bar set for this game. I think that Yashiraj is toast 11 out of 10 times, but will he be able to recover from this turn?
Yeah, the early high main is definitely what's gonna decide this whole game. And he banned the Hellfire to prevent like you from killing the high main and then just Hellfiring the tokens away or the hyenas.
So he may.
I can't hear you, Hector, by the way.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. We may have spoken too soon about the greediness of Vendillion's build. It seems he had something very specific in mind, and that is the Yashiraj style Hunter. which is something that's seen a little bit of play as of late. But it really worked out here as it allowed him to bring in a banned card, as Yasharaj and Barnes care not for the restrictions of the Twisting Nether, and they are going to bring these minions in. And wow, the secret engine is just going to start rolling. But the question here is,
Ooh, and the snipe too to
yeah.
clean up the Blackwing Corruptor.
Oh, and the Bowtop deck. That's 6 more damage he gets to slam into the face. We don't see a Reno yet. I think this is it. Despite having 3 entirely unplayable cards in hand, I think Vendilian's going to take this.
Oh, he's trying to play around Reno by not committing too much damage.
Yeah. I don't know, though. You know what? I think I would have put the swing in because... Well, maybe not.
I mean, I definitely understand not putting in the swing, but I don't think that was that great of an idea.
Yeah, looking at 20 cards left in Samson's deck, the odds are that he doesn't have Reno, and assuming your Barnes is removed, if you swing the bow, you still have lethal. But Samson has just avoided death by having that Shadow Bolt, being able to slam it. And this Doomsayer is going to be interesting.
Oh, it is just GG.
And there we have it. That is a 2-1 win for Vendilion in our first challenge of Monday Madness. All right, well that was a very quick, very smooth first series, and we're gonna bring our players back in here, and I'm sure that Samson will have many nice things to say about Vendilion.
I'm back.
As am I.
All right, well, that was a nice series, wouldn't you say?
That was crazy. Those decks were awesome.
I think
Drake
this
and
deck was
Warlock.
sweet.
So, by the way, my hand at the end of that last game was 2 Animal Companions, Call the Wild. I did not see
brutal.
I did not see the Animal Companion ban coming, and I only had 1 Call the Wild in my list. So, I mean, I figured the Call the Wild would come, but maybe you would try to meta me, so I wanted to keep 1. But damn.
Sure. Yeah. Oh man, the Barnes into Yashraj into High Main.
So my minions in that deck, 2 Savannah High Mains, Yasarj and Barnes. Only minions in my deck. That was it.
We were actually talking about that at Hunter deck quite a bit, Sam, and you also put forward the idea of only 1 Call of the Wild.
I did.
Yeah. So that really worked out. We weren't sure what you were going for there until that insane Barnes play.
That you just take the game away if you get it. Oh.
And
Yeah, that was
Sam's
both fun
unable
and
to play,
interactive.
unable to play the Hellfire to answer that.
Yep.
That you
Oh, yes.
banned out.
Yeah, no, it is a Reno list, so that one only had one of.
Yeah, the Reno list, I wanted to go with Reno, but I didn't know if the deck was going to be consistent enough to actually win against anything. That was my biggest problem. I didn't put enough testing into Reno to figure out if it was going to be good.
I've played lots of Reno decks over the time, so I was just like, all right, I have lists from last season. Let's just update a couple of cards here and there from the new set.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I
But
like
the
the dynamic this idea created where, sometimes you go for this Highlander style Reno build, but you can also go for something more along the lines of rolling those 2 ofs, trying to kind of outthink your opponent and get some of those powerful cards like Call the Wild or Fiery War Axe through to really give you a huge lead in the games.
Well, luckily with
awesome.
the mage deck. I saw that exact ban coming. To hedge my bets, I still had 1 Fireball, but I had no Kabbalist Tomes, no Flame Wakers, no Mana Worms in that deck, and 1 Fireball.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the Rogue ban, the only card that I had a 1 SI agent in the deck out of your bans.
Man, so that game was especially good. So nothing got
Eviscerate. Yeah, it was just and I drew the 1 SI agent in the second game. It's like I had the ban card one of the games.
You still got there.
Yep.
On that one. Oh.
I almost snapped it off. I was like, wait. Turn 3 and my options were just either hero power or play a 3/3. I'm like, oh yeah, you just played a 3-3. Wait.
Yep. Good
Oh, that
catch
Reno
there.
If I could have banned Reno.
Oh
You
yeah.
could have banned Reno and you could have banned Cthulhu even, with the knowledge of what was coming. Yeah, so yeah, we definitely had a lot of discussion about how you guys really target banned during that first round, Miracle Rogue and Tempo Mage, and like I was a little bit surprised not to see a ban on Ice Block because I think that's a really nuts card for the non-tempo style decks,
Saved my life.
and yeah,
did-
and as one of the interesting things is as Reno is a legendary, you can't target that specific card, so
Yep.
we definitely saw a lot of play around that on the side of Josh Sampson, and I think we had a really cool series. So we're gonna transition to a short 5-minute break. It'll be a bit of an early break this show, but go grab yourself a refill in your glass of water, take a piss, and we'll be back in 5 minutes for the coming of the Legion.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you then.
All right, and welcome back to THL's Monday Madness. We are proud to bring you the final challenge of our first season. It's been a wild ride for us here as a host, and we hope that you on the audience side have really enjoyed what we've had to present. You can catch past episodes on the Twitch VODs for twitchtv.teamhearthleague, where you're viewing this right now. And I'm so excited to bring you this one. So, what we're going to be playing here is a challenge called The Coming of the Legion. So, this is, as I stated before, themed around the new World of Warcraft expansion Legion, where an evil force of demons comes to the planet of Azeroth to... Alright, we all got it. Comes to the planet of Azeroth to invade and essentially destroy everything that is good in the world. And so Josh Sampson today will be the destroyer of everything that is good in the world. So he is our antagonist. He's going to be playing 3 decks piloted by Gul'dan. And our protagonist, the champion Vendilion, will be bringing 3 decks of Azerothian heroes. And they're going to play a best of 5 conquest series. So let me give you a quick draft of the rules here. So let's first talk about what makes the demons so powerful. So Mr. Sampson has brought
I
3
can't hear you.
decks. Uh-oh. Can't hear me? Better now?
I could always hear you.
Nope, never mind. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of out on my end.
Am I okay?
You sound good to me.
All right. Then we're going to keep going here then. Mr. Sampson has brought 3 decks, each of which is piloted by a different demon lord. The demon lords are Lord Jaraxxus, Mal'Ganis, and Prince Malchezaar. Now, each one of these demons, and Vendilion's not entirely sure which until he gets into the game, is going to have a different restriction placed upon him. So, one of the demon lords is going to make Vendilion's minions unplayable before turn 4. One of them is going to make his spells cost 2 additional mana. And one of them is going to apply the same effect that we saw in the first challenge of being able to target ban 4 cards. Now, these bans are going to be a little bit different. They're going to be come up with on the spot during the mulligan phase. So, say Samson decides to apply this ban 4 effect to his deck, which has Mal'Ganis in it. As soon as he cues that deck in, he's going to announce to us in our private chat that is the effect for that deck, and he's going to, once he sees Vendilion's deck, announce which 4 cards are banned. Or we can do them out loud. That is also fine. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. His mulligan timers are a thing.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that then. You'll just say them as soon as you guys queue in. So we'll keep you. We'll have you guys pick your mics up between games then. That should be fine. All right. And the other big restriction that makes this so thematic is that the Burning Legion deck is only going to include either demon minions or a handful of crazy end-of-the-world cult types that just can't wait for a swarm of demons to come down from the sky and burn them all. Doomsayer, what are you doing with life? Get out of here. Go home. And it's also key to know that Gul'dan is not allowed to renounce darkness. Sorry, mate.
Super upset about that.
All right. Let me give you a quick summary of the heroes of Azeroth. Vendilion has had the choice of bringing any of the following heroes who are still alive and prepared to face the Legion. He can bring Malfurion Stormrage, Illyria Windrunner, Rexxar, Jaina Proudmoore, Khadgar, Lady Liadrin, Anduin Wrynn, Valeera, Thrall, or Magni. Now, he can play any standard format, common, rare, epic minions, spells, and weapons, but he can only include legendary cards that are listed, and these listed legendaries are Cenarius, Tyrion Fordring, Vol'jin, Prophet Velen, Varian Wrynn, Bran Bronzebeard, Gelvin Mekatork, Sylvanas Windrunner, Trade Prince Galliwix, and Illidan Stormrage. Yes, so there will be no wild minions on the side of the Alliance and the Horde. Unless there are. And we're just going to roll. That is fine. All right. No, don't worry about it, man. We're just going to go. That is
Okay,
totally fine.
Okay, I'm about to say I thought I could include wild minions. I think I missed that.
Well, then that is totally on us for not conveying that to you properly.
On you. I wasn't here till like just now.
Yeah, but you know what?
Got him, Caleb.
I enjoy blaming things on salmon. So, smoked salmon,
Yeah, fuck it.
this one's on you. Why did you not convey to our players during the 24 hours?
I looked now. I looked now that standard format is underlined, and I completely gazed over that. That is
All
completely
right.
my fault. I guess
Well,
completely
don't
my
worry
fault.
about it. We are
All right.
ready to go. We have a hero of Azeroth prepared to take on a demon lord. Players, do you have any words of
Ready
warning
you
for
are.
each other?
I apologize for the wild cards. I do believe that I was giving a very crippling handicap by these decks. I do apologize for that. I hope that doesn't make it too crazy. None of my decks are tier 1 or anything, so I mean, they're playing around the whatchamacallit.
Restriction. So the first
Against
thing
restrictions, yeah.
that our champion of all that is good in the world does when he sees a demon lord is he walks up to him and says, "Hey mate, sorry about the powerful minions in here. We didn't mean to bring those. Would you like to trounce over one of our towns in payment? We're all about fair gameplay here, fair and balanced, right?"
Josh, DC, do you guys want me to take 2 minutes to take those out? I can do that.
Nah, don't worry about it, man.
Client's booting back up.
All right.
Okay.
All good. We're almost ready to go here. Yeah, this should be real neat. So players, why don't you guys just figure out which decks you're gonna go into first? So
Yep, I'm ready. Whenever this challenge likes to let me send. There we go.
all right. So why don't we just announce it to the stream,
Whoops.
and so
Hold
we
on.
can cut off a little bit of that mulligan timer. Mr. Sampson, which demon lord are you employing, and which effect is tied to him?
All right. So the first demon lord is going to be the Prince of Malkazar, and his effect is that spells are going to cost 2 more.
All right. So, very interesting description because there are certain decks like Zoo Warlock which are not terribly hampered by this as they're a very minion-based deck. Now, Zoo Warlock is not a great example because Vendilion cannot play as Gul'dan. Can build a Zoo deck with any class, really. Yep, so if there's a Snapcast, if this effect is broken, we're going to imply the same penalty. 2 cards are going to the Twisting Nether, and you can't play them. All right. Well, it looks like we're all set to go. Why don't you players queue into each other, and we're going
All right, sounds good.
All right, and let's make sure that the spectator is from the point of view of our protagonist here, Vendilion. Players, you're free to mute and deaf yourselves. Why don't you guys go for that? And we're going to get right into it. Smoked Salmon.
I am here. Hello.
That Azeroth will stand, or that the planet will be
Will be what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part. No, I can't hear you at all.
burned to a crisp.
Well, I mean, I'm all for seeing the planet burn to a crisp, so
Oh,
I'm just
are
gonna
you?
yeah.
Okay, so the first hero that has been brought here by Vendilion is one of the leaders of the dwarves, Magni Bronzebeard. and he has decided to bring along some of the rogues, the pirates of Azeroth, as you know, they don't really want to be burned by demons either. Um, and I really like this strategy. I think it's going to be very effective. Um, and what we're seeing from this demon lord alongside his incredible effect is that he's brought along some friends from his portals. One of these is Mogor the Ogre. All right, so one crazy thing here is that this upgrade is a 3-mana spell. Now let me clear that the coin does not count as a spell. So, coin is totally playable. You can just slam that out, take a swing, put his minion out. It's all good. Salmon. We see this
Yes.
very aggressive start by Vendilion. And we see a Dreadseed employed by the Legion. If this were a slower deck, I would say that I would be very scared for our Azerothian protagonist here. But as it is a very fast deck, I think this Dreadseed is not going to be able to get the traction it needs. But
I mean, once it's gonna be great to like clear off things since the deckhand's pretty weak, and once he Hellfires, that frothing is gonna have 1 mana. I think it's just gonna be a little bit of a nuisance to deal with and have to deal with it constantly.
definitely, Dragon Egg, very interesting inclusion, which I actually like a bit. Now it's not going to work out very well against the Dreadsteed, but I really like this first deck approach that that Vendilion has taken, of just saying, you know what, you've got crazy restrictions on me, but one of the things that really isn't restricted too much is weapons. So I'm going to make a weapon-based deck. I'm going to chew through your health bar because the amount of demons with taunt is, it's moderate. It's outside of Voidwalker and Felguard, which is likely not going to be played. An aggressive approach here is probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Now we see the employment of Mogor the Ogre. Now, I'm interested to see how Vendilion wants to handle this, because this could go very wrong if the random swing of the weapon decides to make its way into the Dreadsteed, as he really needs this to connect with face. Now, the Dragon Egg connects.
Now, keep in mind, Mogre only affects minions, so the weapon can swing.
Oh, that's
anywhere.
fantastic. Well,
but I'm curious as to if Vendi knows that.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I'm losing my touch. My previously untarnished record is no more, and I don't even know how Mogor the Ogre works. So you guys can't trust me. You can't trust what I say. But it seems that Mogor the Ogre doesn't always work for the player who is controlling it, as it just found its way directly into unoptimal trades. And Execute's coming down. Dragon Egg's coming down. Do you think that the swing should be taken here?
I mean, yeah, I guess, because if you draw, like, let's say, the Arcanite Reaper, you can finish him off, but yeah, it's not. This is how usually pirates lose. They start running out of steam.
And here comes the lord of the first deck. Now, obviously, Gul'dan is the conduit of the demons, but Malchezaar is the demon lord presiding over this particular invasion. And this is an interesting situation where Malchezaar doesn't have a great way to restore his own life, or his hero's life, but Magni currently doesn't have any options. I think this is going to come down to race, an arms race, so to say.
Yeah, basically it's does he get either a weapon or let's say I don't even think Leroy was in the list of allowed legendaries.
Yeah, Leroy. I don't know. I mean, he tends to be the self-serving kind. He enjoys chicken, um, but I mean, he's just not quite reliable, and I don't think that it'd be great if all of a sudden one of these supposed heroes of Azeroth decided to charge his way into a room full of hostile dragons in the middle of trying to defend himself against a demon invasion. Now that was a very smooth play, I've got to say, by the Demon Lord. And man, the pirates have just run out of steam, and he's got only so long for the imminent invasion comes. Ooh. Now this is interesting. So one of the key pieces of whoa.
I don't know if I agree with that play because
Yeah.
he should have just traded the prince into the ravaging ghoul. That way he could keep his Voidwalker alive and prevent himself from being Arcanite Reaper.
Yeah, so this is I was going to say one of the key pieces of the Warlock style, which is the life tap, is unplayable in this situation because he just doesn't want to go below 5, which is making it really bad to draw a Doomsayer. But I do agree. I think that the Demon Lord there really needed to swallow his pride and just kill off that ghoul. He doesn't have to attack face every time. This clock is just going to start speeding up as more minions get added to the board. And with 9 damage on board. Oh, man.
Oh.
The
And I
Horde
think
and
we
the
really
Alliance
saw
are
punishment.
united in this conflict, and they will not go quietly as the dwarves and the orcs together take a well-earned victory against the prince. Now, demons are not defeated when they're killed. Well, they're not dead when they're killed. They're only defeated for a time. They return to the Twisty Nether and will return once again. So we will see Malchezaar again. And now, Vendilion knows that that Malchezaar deck is the one with the spell restriction. So, with that in mind, I wonder how our players will approach this game.
Well,
What
aren't
other heroes of
they
Azeroth
gonna come in and tell us what they're gonna do?
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, they're gonna hop back in here, and they're going to announce their restrictions.
I'm here.
All right.
I'm
So,
back.
Samson. Malchezaar's taking a blow, but he will be back. Is he returning this round, or are you going to bring a
not.
different Demon Lord up to bat? Oh, he's not. All right. Who is coming in?
All right, we are bringing in Jiraxis.
Oh, man. Jiraxis, very good at karaoke and conquering worlds. Now,
And Jiraxis' ability is that I can't play minions. So I can't play minions from hand until turn 4.
That is correct.
ooh,
But things like, I don't know, like
Animal Companion?
I'm just gonna throw out like an animal companion or Ironforge portal or stuff like that. Those can like I mean Ironforge portal's obviously 5, but those are okay.
That is
Yep,
right.
those are
Summon
spells.
minions are fine. You cannot play minion cards from your hand until turn
4. Gotcha.
All right, so I think we are ready to go here. Why don't you guys get out of here? Salmon. I think we're going to see a zoo style from Samson.
Maybe, but I feel like Jiraxis would flip favor a more late game approach, but could go either. I would hate to think that he just throws in Jiraxis just to have a leader.
Right. And I do think that Malgan.
I can't hear you.
I do think that Mal'Ganis may be more appropriate to lead a faster zoo style deck. But I think that this restriction lines up a lot with Zoo. I think ensuring board conquest, ensuring those minions are not on board, as can't play that Clockwork Gnome. But yeah, here we see Jaina of the Alliance presenting. She seems to have brought in some both gnome and perhaps goblin allies. I'm not sure how she feels about that. She tends to be pretty hostile to the Horde. But maybe she's putting aside her grievances just for this scenario, and she's gonna say, "All right, Shredder's a pretty good card." All right.
Yeah, I wonder how many people had to suck it up and say Shredder was a good card to play.
Yeah. A lot of us did. I like the inclusion of the Pit Lord. I think that that's going to be a very powerful minion for the Legion. We're seeing all sorts of legions of demons coming out here. But the Pit Lord is one of the very powerful ones of those. Now, fortunately for Vendilion, he has had answers to this restriction. And this had slowed the momentum. Now, this is going to be incredible as far as tempo goes for Gul'dan here. The ability to play a Pit Lord off of that is nuts. Even removing 600, 2,900. Can't read numbers. I'm sure that's some kind of joke. All right. So what I think is interesting here is you saw these removals coming out early. And so, yeah, he was fine, but that also prevented him from developing minions, which is a very good thing to be able to do early. So, yeah, he had sort of an answer, but it's now given this huge tempo surge where the board belongs to Gul'dan. And there's not much that can be done to reconquer it. Playing a Flame Waker, and he's really got to land those shots if he wants to attack. And that's a shot he needed to land to prevent that trade. Second. Yeah. Now there's a very nice discard play, but it means throwing away your Imp Gang boss. What do you think of the Conduit of the Burning Legion's options here?
Well, I think you just trade into the. You can trade into the Flame Waker with the Wrathguard, and then take out the Sorcerer's Apprentice with the Void Caller, and then maybe play just the Imp Gang boss and tap instead of necessarily having to risk the Soulfire just to draw something. Or tap, yeah, tap first. Obviously, I'm not that great a player. Sorry.
Do you think that Soulfiring this Sorcerer's Apprentice and then making the Malkazar's play could snowball the board advantage you have by keeping the Void Caller stronger?
I think what the Void Caller will do is it will die and drop like one of the demons. At first, I was thinking it would drop like just keep the Malkazar's Imp and drop that. But now that there are better options, I might have just ended up playing the Malkazar's Imp.
So we see Vendilion. He is scared here because he knows if he pings that 3-1 and a 3-15 comes out, he's in trouble. Now, he's chosen not to do that, not to give the initiative to his opponent. But I think we're definitely going to see a discard play here, especially with the Tiny Knight of Evil drawn. But one thing I think that I should have probably noted momentarily before was the unstable portaling of King Crush. You never truly know what'll come out of those portals, and sometimes it's a giant fucking dinosaur going to eat Gul'dan's face, which is something I would love to see happen in World of Warcraft Legion, but I just don't think it's going to.
Now, for somebody who's never played, was that the correct lore for King Crush? Just a giant dinosaur?
Yeah, so King Crush is pretty much just a really big dinosaur that will rarely appear in the swamps of Sholazar Basin in Northrend. He's generally a pretty rare creature to see, but when you do see him, he's pretty big and scary. And if you are a hunter like Rexar or Illyria, you can actually tame him to be your pet, which is really cool.
I'd like to have a pet King Crush. That'd be fun.
Now look at this play. Imploring whatever resources are available, we are seeing a spare part creating a beautiful Medivh's Valet play. And you would like to draw a discard trigger off of this. Doesn't happen. But this is the interesting question. Will Jaina be able to stay against the swarm of imps that is coming? Now, she will be able to employ a lot more Seekers off of these insane scientists, but I don't know. I mean, will King Crush be enough? That is the question.
Well, fortunately, Josh has no idea what he got, so it's kind of impossible to play your life around King Crush.
That is definitely going to be the resource here. All right, let's see what comes out of this. Interesting. That's actually a nice body to trade against this board.
Yeah, and it also allows Vendi to fire blast one of the imps away.
Mm-hmm. This is a very tooth and nail battle where, with a great start, the heroes kept the Legion back, but they are unstoppable. They are relentless. And they will continue to make every effort to oppress those who enjoy freedom. But we see a discard play being made, and golly gee, that's looking close to a dead mage. Oh boy. That's a lot of damage. Do you think that damage is going to be directed towards the enemy's face? That's smooth. It's a nice little play there.
Yeah. But I don't think you can attack face with all of these threats. I think it's easier just to trade into at least the spell hopper or the spell stopper and the succubus that was just created.
Mm-hmm. And from the point of view of the Burning Legion, they don't know that the heroes of Azeroth have this ace up their sleeve of giant effing dinosaur. So, seeing one card in the hand thinking, yeah, I think I can trade. I think taking the board is pretty good here. I've got a 4/3, I got a 1/1. And keep in mind, this is the Jiraxis deck. So, and here it comes. Giant effing dinosaur out of a portal, here to save Azeroth. Oh, man. What I was saying is we could see Jiraxis be employed for incredible value. Or we could see the Heroes of Azeroth gaining another foothold